well, I guess recently I've started to like focus a lot more on myself. Like I started writing a bunch, started journaling a bunch. And that was me realizing that like, hey, I can't depend on other people. And I never really have depended on other people, but I often had like this feeling of loneliness and this feeling that I'm alone because, dude, nobody here is doing the same thing I'm doing, or like not even close. Like they're skating for fun and then they're going to work. You know what I mean? Right? 10 a.m. tomorrow, you're thinking?
Yeah, dude.
Cool. Right around here. There's a cool breakfast place over here. You want to get breakfast and then...
Yeah, what are you thinking?
Cool.
I have a car, by the way, so I can swoop you
Okay.
whenever.
See you, big dog.
Look at this group,
Hello.
dude.
What's up, man?
Alan, nice to meet you.
Brandon.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, man. Alan, do you want to borrow a fucking board, dude?
Yes, please.
I got a bunch of boards. You just fucking roll around. What do you think? Well...
Do I need to give my ID?
No, bro. Just don't lose it.
Of course.
Yeah, I guess, will we need a board in here as a prop, you think? What do you think? I got a board and shit. Okay, cool. Yeah. Dude, fucking roll around. Alan.
Yes.
Fuck it. Brandon. Yeah, no problem,
Let's
dude.
go, Brandon.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, exactly. Let's go, Brandon. Shit. That's funny.
Thank you, Brandon.
No problem, dude. We'll be around.
You're the one that's running this whole thing?
No, dude, I'm not running this whole
Oh.
thing.
Cool.
You gotta find, I think everyone's kind of running it a little bit, you know? It's a community thing. You're kind of running it, bro. You're one piece of the puzzle, you know?
Of course.
Yeah, fuck yeah, Alan.
Is there like anybody that I can like talk to get like...
Yo, this guy right here is the fucking dude. A hat, long blue shirt, just on the other side of this white car. Baseball cap. Yeah, long sleeve blue shirt right there. Dan. His
Dan.
name's Dan. You say, hey, you're a buddy of Brandon. Boom. Dan's the man.
Okay.
Fuck yeah, Alan.
Cool.
Fuck yeah.
Thank you,
Boom.
Brandon.
Cool. My name is Brandon DesJarlais, and I'm a 26-year-old longboard skater and entrepreneur and community builder here in Los Angeles.
Okay.
Venice Beach. Venice Beach. Right, yeah. So during the week, what inspires me, I'm working on a lot of different projects right now that are really community driven. I've been really fascinated with how organizations are built and maintained, whether that's societal, governmental, business, community, friendships. That's been like a big passion of mine. For a long time, I was skating and I was so caught up in like, how do I look the coolest? How do I be the coolest, fastest, most badass person ever? And I think that's a pretty young mindset to have. You can become really cool and badass and you can end up like accomplishing all these things, but it ends up being a little hollow, right? And it wasn't until I started like sharing my passion with other people through tutorials and coaching and stuff like that that I really started to find a lot of deep fulfillment in my life. So back when COVID first hit, all the skateboard events canceled. Everyone's stuck at home. I moved back to my dad's place and I just made it like a weekly goal. I was like, okay, cool. I want to do something. I don't know what that's going to be. I want to have some sort of habit that's like positive and like taking my expertise and knowledge and like sharing it with the world. I started this thing called Trick Tip Tuesday. I posted, and the idea of that was basically to make these really quick bite-sized 15-second tutorials that people would watch over and over again, right? Something people would share and save and use as references. And the first one I posted on TikTok got 5 million views. And the second one got hundreds of thousands of views. And I was like, wow, I'm onto something. And I basically, over the next like 70 weeks, took every single trick I knew and turned it into like this 15-second tutorial. And through that, I mean, it's got tens of millions of views. I don't know, 100 million plus views in total, maybe more. And it's been so cool to like see the messages come pouring in. 'Cause especially TikTok in the beginning, you couldn't change the caption. And I remember that first video I posted, I was like, hey, message me on Instagram if you guys have any questions. And it got 5 million views, and I ended up getting like 500 messages from people. And it took me hours and hours and hours to go through it. A lot of the messages were the same, right? Which is a good sign, because I was like, okay, cool, people are having the same problems. And I started to see a lot of them were questions, but also a lot of these messages I got coming in were people just thanking me. They were like, man, I've been working on that trick for weeks and months and whatever, and I could just never unlock it, and your little tutorial helped. And to me, I was like, okay, no big deal. But then once I started to see like the effects and how that is amplified, some little moment like that can have a huge effect on somebody's life, you know? And I never really realized that, being from the other perspective of like just trying to show yourself in the coolest way possible. And so, yeah, I mean, that was cool. It was cool to see all these people that I had no idea were like working on these things be able to like break through comfort, like their comfort zone, and be able to like, I don't know, accomplish something that they at one point didn't think was possible. So that was really cool. And my reference, so like I went to university, I've got a degree. I never had like a corporate job. I just went straight into skating full time when I graduated university, which was cool. I was working brand manager for a company and a lot of like freelance gigs here and there. But yeah, how do I know that what I'm doing is the right thing or is going to pay off in the long run, I think is the question. For me, I guess for the past like 5 or 6 years, I've been a big long-term type of person. Everything I think about, it's like, do I need the cash now? No. Can this be a long-term thing? Yes. Okay, I'm going to do that. I honestly don't know. A lot of the things I'm working on right now, even, I still don't know if they're going to pay off long-term financially. But that's where people get hung up. They use financial, they use money as like the key indicator of success and happiness, when in reality, like a lot of things I'm working on, like I'm building an app. I did a online longboarding course. Like I built a whole community. I built a freaking bus and drove around the country and taught people how to skate. Like all these things actually kind of lose money. But the cool part about it is in pursuing what I'm passionate about and be able to like impact all these people, I have learned so many skills that I wouldn't normally learn, having to be like so entrepreneurial and having to like tackle so many different facets of so many different like problems. And for me, that's fulfilling. Like I love solving problems. And in doing your own thing, you're constantly solving problems. Sometimes they're interesting, sometimes they're not. Sometimes they're catastrophic fires and you feel like you're escaping the Death Star with everything that's trying to come in on you. But I guess how I know that what I'm doing is the right decision for me and is going to benefit me long term is I just look around at the people and I see their smiles and I see the relationships I'm building, and I know that like how I gauge wealth is not necessarily financially. I gauge that a lot more based on relationships. And I know if you're solving problems and you have good relationships and you're a good person, money's going to come eventually. So like I'm only 26 and I might have very little money till I'm 30, 35, whatever, but I know when it comes, it's going to be big. So I got no worries. Hold on, bro. First off, it's called the Shred Sled. And right now I'm living in the Shred Sled. So it's a pretty big part of my life. I see it every morning, every day, every night. We sleep together. No, but it's interesting. Like I don't see myself being like a long-term bus person. Not necessarily the lifestyle I want to have. But going from paying like $2,500 for a room last year and now paying a couple $100 a month in parking tickets, it's a lot better. Obviously, pros and cons, right? It's definitely less comfortable. I definitely feel like a burden to society at times when I'm like taking walks at 10 at night and, you know, peeing in bushes and, you know, people's like backyard lights like turn on and then I have to go run away and then I like shut my doors and put my curtains up. Like sometimes I feel like a homeless person for sure. And Sometimes it's cold, sometimes it's hot. Like right now, it's like not even that warm outside, but this thing's a greenhouse. Like it gets warm. Doesn't do temperature well. Bus. Basically, what happened is a year ago I started doing these free longboarding lessons. Right? It was me and my friend Brooke and a small team, and there was this problem where there was all these people that wanted to skate. We can see like through my tutorials that all these people messaging me, all these people reaching out, and a lot of them in Los Angeles, but there was nobody coming to these recurring sessions. And so what we focused on is like, okay, breaking that down and thinking of the whole thing as like a funnel, right? There's a massive amount of people that want to learn how to skate, smaller amount of people that actually buy a board because they feel like they could do it, and then an even smaller amount of people that do it on like a consistent basis. And so what we found is that for a lot of people, it's fear that's holding them back. It's fear of like looking lame. It's fear of not fitting in. It's fear of hurting themselves. And so the first thing that we started to implement was like these free lessons, free group lessons. And that grew from 5 people to 50 people over the course of a couple months. And we saw a lot of success in it. And I was just so excited. We got messages all over the country, people saying, how'd you do that? Like, this is amazing what you guys are doing. Can you bring it to this city or whatever? And I was like, yo, it's mid-June. And I was like, that'd be super cool. What if we got a bus and did it like a whole tour around the country? And Brooke was like, yeah, that'd be so sick. Let's do it. And I was like, okay, cool. Well, I need to buy a bus like this week, or we got to wait till next year. And I was like, we're buying a bus this week. We drove to Arizona. We picked up a bus. And yeah, we were like painting it and scraping it in the marina parking lot late at night. We got a bunch of hilarious videos. And it was just so cool. It came together. We put the whole thing together in like 30 days. Fortunately, my buddy Isaac Turner, he was a good homie for a long time. And he recently got into like building buses, kind of serendipitously. And I gave him a call right before I bought the bus, actually. I was like, hey man, I know you build buses. I'm thinking about buying one like this week. I'm going to go on tour in a month. I'm setting a hard deadline. We're doing it. Can you help me out? And he's like, oh yeah, dude, I got you. And then I called him back like the next day and was like, hey man, so I got that bus. Like, you still down? He's like, dude, people ask me all the time to build their bus. They never fucking buy a bus. You bought a bus the next day? And he's like, dude, when are you driving up here? I was like, I don't know, like a couple days. He's like, bro. And he was in the middle of a bunch of projects, right? So he had a bunch of cash tied up. I don't know how much money, 50, 100 grand, because he's buying these buses, and he was like halfway done with a lot of them. And he dropped everything he was doing to help me work on mine. And so that is one of the things where with Isaac, I met him at Guitar Center. I started shooting a lot of his music videos. Then I showed him how to use a camera. And our relationship just like grew, and he was one of the people in my life that I was always pushing. I saw a lot of like passion and hope in this guy, and he's just a cool dude. And so I never thought anything would come of it, but like by having him as a friend, fast forward 6 years later, I call this dude out of nowhere, and he drops everything he's doing, puts a bunch of money on the leaves a bunch of money behind basically to help me fulfill my dream. So I guess that's a cool example of like, if I, wanted to have somebody else do it, it would have taken months and it would have cost me triple or quadruple. So that was super cool. We got the bus, made the bus. We did this whole trip. It's called Beyond the Board. The idea behind Beyond the Board is we wanted to make it something that's not just exclusive to longboarding, because I think like, I don't think longboarding is like a special drug or like a special a super unique thing that can't be replicated. Like the same feeling that people get from this, they can get from other things, right? And I think a lot of things that share the same similar feeling and potential are other board sports and other action sports. The idea of Beyond the Board is that, whether you're riding a snowboard, a surfboard, skateboard, whatever, we want to use action sports as a tool to breed confidence and community that go beyond the board. So it's not like you're just building confidence on the board. You're not just building friends you skate with, but hopefully these end up being friends for a long time, and hopefully like the confidence you're gaining on the board is translating into other aspects of your life. Even though we're teaching skating, and even though what I'm doing is longboarding, and we're teaching people how to be better longboarders, what I found is that the same confidence and the same like fear that you're pushing through and the same motivation and confidence you're building translates to other aspects of your life, right? So one interesting quote I heard from my yoga teacher recently, she said, how you do one thing is how you do everything. I'm sure it's not her quote, but when she said it was super powerful because it made me think a little bit about my practice, and I was like, okay, cool. That's why I'm pushing so hard through my physical activities, right? And that's why you see a lot of people that are very physical and very disciplined physically have that same mental discipline, right? It's all conditioning. And so the same parts of your brain that are like pushing through and giving you that will to like persevere, whether it's a mental task or a physical task, it's the same part of your brain that's acting on that. It's just in a different form.
And good? Are you happy? Where's your mental space right now?
Right. Yeah, that's a really good question. Yeah. So going down this path has not always been such a smooth sailing endeavor. Obviously, when people see me on social media, and when most people see me in person, they're like, damn, this dude is never sad. This dude is 100% about himself and getting after it. But like, dude, I have had a lot of instability with finances and a lot of instability with friendships and relationships. Like for a couple years there, I took a few years off of university, and I was traveling like 10 months of the year, all over the world, all over the country. And it was super cool and fulfilling. But one of the biggest things is that I never really felt like I had true friends. You know, like I had a million acquaintances or I had a million friends, right? But not people I'm seeing on a consistent basis that I can confide in. And so, especially recently, I've started to like shift, recently I've started to like focus a lot more on myself. Like I started writing a bunch, I started journaling a bunch. And that was me realizing that like, hey, I can't depend on other people. And I never really have depended on other people, but I often had like this feeling of loneliness, and this feeling that I'm alone because, dude, nobody here is doing the same thing I'm doing, or like not even close. Like they're skating for fun and then they're going to work. You know what I mean? And so I don't really have that many people to like even bounce ideas off of. What I gotta say though about Los Angeles and especially Venice Beach, moving here, I always thought that the people in my life that were gonna motivate me needed to be like so similar in my circle. Like they needed to be other skaters that were doing entrepreneurial things. They had like this big vision for community. And what I learned being around here is there's hundreds of people that are doing something similar to what I'm doing, but in their own sport, in acro, in music, in yoga, in basketball, in whatever. And so moving here to Los Angeles, I actually started shifting a lot of my friendships away from the skate people that I would normally spend all my time with. And I started to ask myself these questions of like, okay, well, who do I want to spend time with? And before it was really reactionary. I had all these people in my life because of the hobby I had, but are these people that I truly want in my life? Or was I just hang out with them because they were there, right? Same thing in high school, right? A lot of people are high school friends, and cool, you met them in 7th grade and they're fun to smoke weed and whatever, chill with. But are those actually the people you want to spend all your time with? So I started going, no, okay, what are my values? I want to surround myself with people that are ridiculously kind, like more kind than me. I set the bar pretty high. I want to be surrounded by people that are like relentlessly striving to be the best version of themselves and constantly like learning, asking questions, and pushing others to be the very best they can be. And moving here in Venice Beach, I started to find that all over the place, you know? And it's not until you get rid of the good that you can make room for great. And I noticed that over the past 5 to 10 years, my glass was full of responsibilities, commitments, friendships, relationships, and I never had this opportunity, and I never allowed myself the space to have other things come into my life. I never allowed myself to be lonely. I just would constantly fill my plate with a bunch of things. And so, yeah, now opening up that space has allowed a lot of really special experiences and people to come into my life. I guess for the longest time, I've been completely consumed with work and the things I'm working on and the things I'm doing. And oftentimes it made me feel very overwhelmed, especially recently with all the projects I took on. I felt very lonely, I felt very overwhelmed, and I felt like I didn't even have the space to like breathe and have fun and to sit down and reflect. And it wasn't until I started doing that recently that I started to feel a lot more happy. And people don't realize, like, everyone thinks they're busy. Everyone thinks they're like ridiculously busy. I don't have time for this, I don't have time for this. You have time for whatever you want to have time for, right? And it's about priorities. And so for me, I started prioritizing my own mental and physical health. Like I started going back to the gym, I started writing, I started playing guitar. And by having like these small creative and mental outlets throughout the day and throughout the week, I'm actually able to think much more clearly about the things I'm working on. So instead of feeling overwhelmed constantly, I'm able to like cut away and then see things from a different perspective. And before, longboarding was my only way that I was able to like find this escape. And that's cool until you like twist your ankle or until you like get to a certain point and it's not as exciting anymore, right? And so yeah, digging into like these new creative outlets and habits has really like opened up the world for me. And like, even though it's only 20 minutes here and 20 minutes there, I actually get a mental break, which allows me to come back 110% to whatever I was working on before. Moving forward, I have no idea what to expect, honestly. And the way I think about things and the way I think about the things I'm striving towards, I'm intuitively drawn in a certain direction. And for me, that direction is refining my skills as a leader and impacting people in a positive way, right? I love creating things. I love solving problems. I love mentoring people. And I love, right? So I love all those things. And I'm intuitively drawn towards that direction. I don't necessarily put up milestones for myself. I'm intuitively drawn a direction. And then I look down and I go, cool, what do I got to do this week? Also, all the cool shit that happened to me came out of nowhere. You know, I stunt doubled for Vin Diesel when I was 20 in the movie Triple X3. It was insane. I got a call out of nowhere that was like, hey, you're Brandon. I was like, yeah, cool. They're like, sweet, you got it. And I was like, whoa, amazing. Last year, I was star in this Facebook commercial for the Olympics. I was featured in this Facebook commercial for the Olympics, which was incredible. Another thing, TV commercial worldwide. Never would have thought that would have happened. And these are just things like you can't really expect, right? What I found with expectations is, again, it's like filling your glass with a bunch of unnecessary energy that then potentially limits your peripherals for some of the most incredible things to arise. I don't know if I'd recommend that to everybody. Like, I don't know if I'd recommend that way of thinking to everybody. But I guess with like the way I think about things, I like to leave my options open, and I know that a lot of stuff passes the peripherals. And so for me, I don't like to be too honed in because I know life is a game of chutes and ladders, right? Sometimes you're going to hit something, you're going to meet somebody, and it's going to shoot you way up. And sometimes you run into some big shitty hardship, and that pushes you way back down. And if you're too focused on something, I feel like you're unable to see the nuances in your surroundings and in your environment. And I like to be a little more aware of that. I like to see the shortcut if I can, and I like to be prepared for the hardships if I can. Yeah, dude, if you wanted to get into something like this, the hardest thing is going to be the financial side, because there's no rule book and there's no like standards for this, man. Like, what does someone pay to like, you show up with a bus in some city? Are people paying for that? I don't know. What do people charge for content? Like, you're going to spend a bunch of time working your ass off trying to make fun, interesting videos and resources for people where there's no direct way to really get paid from that. You get paid in roundabout ways. You get paid in ways where like you work your ass off, you put 1,000 hours in making all this shit for free, and then all of a sudden Facebook gives you a call out of nowhere, right? The thing is, 99% of people quit before Facebook ever gives them the call. And how I like to think about things is like, cool, whenever I'm like dealing with some hardship and whenever I'm like, dude, this is not working out, I need money, I got credit card bills, shit's coming up, I know that whenever I'm in that situation, someone else had the exact same thought process, and I'm like, yo, if I can just push through this, there's one less person to worry about. And I'm now from here to here, right? And I think the world's abundant, and it's not necessarily a competition, but I know that like of the type of person I want to be the best, or I want to be one of the best. I want to be among the greats, right? And so I know that if I give in those situations, I'm never going to get to the top, right? And it's exponentially more rewarding to hold out for the long term, to be consistent. So like that's probably another reason why you shouldn't do this, is because you have to be ridiculously consistent. I have probably posted an average of 5 times a week on Instagram for the past 7 years or 8 years. You know, sometimes more, sometimes less, but 5 times. And I don't think I've gone more than a week without making some video for social media. Most people need some time. Sometimes you get a girlfriend and she takes all your money and all your weekends. So that's hard, because a second you quit being consistent, you lose your momentum, right? One of the things I try to live by is 1% better every day, right? And that doesn't mean I'm 1% better at everything every day. 1% better in one of the 100 aspects of my life, right? And I know that by doing that, the compounding effects 10, 20 years from now are just exorbitant. And so I guess that's what motivates me. I don't know if that motivates most people, but that motivates me. Yeah.
Dude, that was awesome.